quick about this. What is up, you guys, and welcome to the Chosen League podcast, where fire sports content is the name of the game. I'm your host, Devon, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you guys about yesterday's bowl game, Clemson Tigers versus Kentucky. But before we get into all that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. Let's get into it. Clemson Tigers. Clemson Tigers came out on top, winning the Gators bowl game. Honestly, it just looked like with Kentucky, the way they were playing from the beginning, it seemed like they wanted it more, but they just couldn't pull it off and finish out the game. Clemson came out on top, but I'm going to start off with Clemson's offense. That's what I want to get into. So, with Clemson in mind, the first half they really struggled a bit trying to get a touchdown in the first quarter. They struggled in the first quarter to get a touchdown. They had to settle for a field goal, which put 3 points on the board for them. So they ended up getting their first points on the board. Their quarterback, Cade Klubnik, 30 of 41, 264 yards. And then the running back, Phil Maffa, he had 11 carries, 71 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Honestly, on the offensive side of things, he really was the one getting most of the touchdowns. He was getting the touchdowns for the offense. Most of them came from their running back, Phil Maffa. And also the defense, well, I will get into later on in this episode. But also the the offensive line. The offensive line did a decent job in the first quarter of for protecting Cade Klubnik. A lot of times he had to throw the ball away. He either got sacked or, when the defense, when it comes to him being in the pocket and defense coming with the pressure, he can't really get a pass. He doesn't have enough time to get a pass to his receiver. So that caused up some issues. But they really Clemson's offensive line really stepped it up after the first quarter. They started to get better and they started to progress throughout the game. And honestly, it was a back and forth battle because both teams on the offensive end and the defensive end of the field were actually playing good. But it just came down to who wanted it more, and it was Clemson. So they scored their first touchdown in the second quarter, which was from Phil Maffa. He that 1 yard rushing touchdown, which was at the goal line. And now moving on to Clemson's defense. Defensively, they were playing the right way. They were playing good. They were playing really good. 2 interceptions, Khalil Barnes, their linebacker, 7 tackles, 1 tackle for loss. They didn't allow the quarterback to get comfortable in the fourth quarter. They really stepped up in the second half. Really is when they stepped up in the second half because I don't know what it was, but Kentucky was just really just running through Clemson's defense. They left the middle of the field wide open. Times they got kick returns or punt returns, they would get some good yardage. But they didn't allow the Kentucky's quarterback to get comfortable. Their quarterback Leary, they didn't really allow him to get comfortable. He made some bad plays here and there. They disrupted his passing game. They also the one thing about Clemson is they struggled at the goal line. Kentucky was really good at the goal line. I mean, in the first half, they struggled at the goal line. Kentucky was doing what they need to do and getting by so they can get the touchdown. Moving on to Kentucky's offense, the dominance. Now they dominated the first half and pretty much a little bit of the third quarter, but then things began to change. So quarterback Leary for Kentucky, 16 of 28, 306 yards, 2 touchdowns. The running back Davis, 13 attempts, 63 yards, 1 touchdown. The receiver Brown, 100 yards rushing with 1 touchdown. And that was that play that he had a kick return and he took it all the way to the house. So that was a key highlight for Kentucky and for them, trying to get back in this game. Their other wide receiver, Key, 83 yards and 1 touchdown. So the thing about Kentucky here is good pass protection. Leary made a lot of great pass plays, and most of them were deep pass plays. If you watched the game yesterday, he was very comfortable in the pocket. He was able to make a deep pass down the field, and that's why they were getting so many big yards because they Clemson's defense was really struggling in the first half, and they really didn't protect the middle of the field because if you're playing on defense, if you're the linebacker and you're not guarding the middle of the field, that means the safety has to come down and help. And sometimes when the safety comes down to help, he doesn't really have much of a chance to get to that receiver because either the quarterback's going to make a quick pass in the middle of the field, and he's going to get it, and he's going to be off to the races. So it's really hard to get to be in that situation, and then whatever down it is, maybe it be second and 12, and you're trying to make something happen to get your team back in the game. So Clemson really struggled on that. He was able to get the ball to his receivers. Like I said, he was making a lot of great passes. He was able to get the ball to his receivers. Um, Barry and Brown runs for 100 yards on that kick return, which really set the tone and really gave them Kentucky. It gave them a little boost, and they were, it was like we gotta keep the ball rolling, and that's what Kentucky was trying to do, but it just didn't happen for them. And that 100-yard rushing touchdown was in the third quarter. And then moving on to Kentucky's defense. Defense, they applied pressure to Clemson's quarterback, Cade Klubnik. He ended up getting sacked 8 times. 8 times? That's where it becomes even though even though he got sacked 8 times. Just think about that. Put yourself in Cade Klubnik's position. You are a quarterback and you get sacked 8 times. 8 times. And then you still manage to win the game by 3 points. The comeback is real, but I'm getting off. I'm getting off a little here, but I'm gonna get into that. But Kentucky's defense, excuse me, got an interception in the fourth quarter, sacked Cade Klubnik 8 times. Linebacker Wallace, 11 tackles, one tackle for loss, and one sack. Their defensive back Hardaway, 5 tackles and one forced fumble, and their defensive back Childress with 9 tackles. Moving on to the last thing before I end the show. Clemson in the fourth quarter. Now let's talk about their running back Shipley. He got them in good field position in the fourth quarter on kick return. Clemson made a 52-yard field goal. And I always say this. This is the first time you guys are gonna ever hear me say this. And I always say this when I'm watching a football game. If it comes down to a kicker kicking a field goal, now if he would have missed this field goal, I was like, if he can't make a 52-yarder, he must not be a starter. And that what I'm saying is, it's self-explanatory. But if he can't make a 52-yarder, he must not be a starter. Because great kickers can make kicks like that. If it's whether it's 52 yards, 62, you got to be a great kicker to kick a field goal like that. 52-yarder, 52-yard field goal. Yeah, he's definitely a starter. But also Phil Maffa scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Klubnik makes a comeback in the fourth quarter. In the matter of seconds, gives Clemson first and goal. Then Clemson goes for a 2-point conversion. They attempt a 2-point conversion and make it. And the end result is they were gonna win because when Kentucky got the ball, Clemson ended up getting another interception with 9 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So with Kentucky, they messed themselves up regardless. They messed themselves up regardless because the good field position by Shipley, Klubnik moving the ball down the field with his passing abilities. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Clemson really stepped up when it mattered the most, and that was the fourth quarter. Their offensive line stepped up. Everybody was locked in. Everybody knew the assignment, and everybody knew what they needed to do. So Clemson did what they needed to do. They needed to win. They made a comeback. They were getting beaten down. Kentucky was just literally making anything happen. They were getting big yards. They were moving the ball down the field, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough. But let me know in the comment section what do you guys think about the bowl game with with Clemson and Kentucky? Could What were some things that Kentucky could have done better to towards winning that game? And all you Kentucky fans out there, Clemson fans, do you guys believe with the performance that Kentucky played with the performance that they had Kentucky had, should they have won that game? Let me know in the comment section. But once again, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I upload an episode. I'm Devin, and I'm signing off.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show.